just walk off camera if I don't know how to turn it on. Good morning, everyone. Anne here from Atmosphere. Today we're doing an essentials class. So essentials class is we do at Atmosphere for a minimum of 6 weeks. It's for new people to Pilates, or maybe people that have got injuries, or just someone that wants to come back and reassess their small muscles. So with this, we want to make sure we work from the inside out. We're working our small muscles, stabilizing muscles, and then loading up the intensity once we've got that established. So we talk about starting from the pelvic floor and the transverse abdominis and another muscle that runs up the back of the spine called the multifidus. So to activate these muscles in standing, I want you to just stand up nice and tall, feet underneath the hips, these are your hip bones. Tripods are on the feet, so we want even point of contact on the big toe knuckle, little toe knuckle, center of the heel, and the arch is lifted. Knees are soft, pop your hands on the hips, tuck under, arch, keeping the knees still, find that middle position. Ribs are over the hips, collarbones think wide, shoulders just resting down on the rib cage, don't force them down, and think back of the neck long and chinny. So now I want you to think of a T on your pelvis, a horizontal line between the hip bones, a vertical line down. Vertical line represents your pelvic floor. So remember, that's a sling from the pubic bone to the tailbone to the sit bones. So just draw that up the middle of the body, like you're stopping from going to the toilet, about a 2 or 3 out of 10, without squeezing the bottom. To get to this deep corset muscle, so these muscles don't actually help move you, they actually stabilize you, and that gives you a better foundation to move from. So think hip bones here, they're sliding across to the center. So it's like we're flattening this line in the lower abdominals and then drawing that T back towards the spine. Think of the lower back. The lower back muscles are drawing up to meet the abdominals. So we're not actually changing our spinal position. It's just that 20-30% muscle activation to protect our spine. So when I say T-zone, just think lift, draw across, the T comes back, and just think of those lower back extensors gently drawing towards the belly from the back. That is your T-zone, okay? Next is breathing. We breathe deep into the ribs. So these are our primary breathing muscles here, not up here. So think breath in, open the mouth side out from the back of the throat. That's your breathing. Keep practicing that for me. So we don't want this breathing up into here. This activates all these muscles too much. When we direct it into here, these neck and shoulder muscles should stay relaxed. We don't do a great big belly breath into a big breath into the belly. We want to keep the activation through those ribs. So keep going for me, breathing in and out. Fingertips reaching towards the floor, and we've stacked our body. Next is a roll down. So if you do have any issues with blood pressure or vertigo, or even lower disc injuries that you don't want to flex forward, just stay up standing for me. But for a roll down, we established this position. T-zone's on, just nod the head. So when I nod the head, it's the back of the head slides up and the chin comes in. I'm not dropping my head yet. So it's this little bit of a shift here from the back of the neck. So we nod the head. Now belly's on, chin towards the throat, and start using these outside muscles now, the rectus abdominis and the obliques, to draw the hips towards the belly. Crown of the head to the floor, eyes on the thighs. Inhale here, T-zone, and re-imprint that spine up that imaginary wall, just squeezing the glutes a little bit here to bringing the hips back in line and up nice and tall. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, nod the head. Exhale, round the shoulders. The abdominals are working. The arms are heavy in front of the body. The neck is relaxed. Inhale here. Exhale, re-imprint. Up nice and tall. So keep going for me. We're activating the front muscles here now to allow the lower back to lengthen. The weight of the head is bringing us down, but it's relaxed. And we re-imprint 1 vertebra at a time. Well done, guys. So let's get started. We're going to lie on our backs.
and we want to be in our line, go over our lying posture. So first we come down, feet are comfortably away from the bottom, tripods are on the feet. Hands on the hips, tuck the pubic bone towards the belly, the lower back rounds. Arch the back, hip bones roll away from you, a big arch. Find that middle position, and whatever gap is in your back is your neutral spine. Make sure the upper back isn't rounding. So these ribs gently draw back. Collarbones wide. Have your palms up towards the ceiling, so that's going to help open the shoulders out. Lift the head, just gently lengthen the back of the neck and bring the head down. So your eye line should be up towards the ceiling or a little bit into the cheekbones. A few connection breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. As we do that, we are connecting with that T-zone. Left foot pressing into the floor, the right leg in tabletop. So we've got the knee over the hip and the shins parallel. The angle of the leg stays the same. Lower that leg to the floor and lift the other leg up and lower back down. So this is warming up the abdominals, rebooting them, loading them up by the leg going away from you. As we're doing this, think thigh bone in the hip socket, and we're using the inner thigh and the lower abs. To help stabilise the pelvis, think about open legs at the side of the waist here, drawing the hips back so they're not rocking as well. Think a little bit upper extension in that back, in the upper back, but the ribs are down and in. So we're lengthening our spine. The abdominals are working as in a lengthened position. Shoulders are relaxed. So we're no rocking through the pelvis, no arching through the back, and the leg floats up. We have the T-zone on. 2 more, one each side. Nice one here. Lower down, pop. Next, we're doing a bent knee fall out. So the leg will drop out over to the side. And when we do that, we don't want to rock the pelvis, so this pelvis has to stay still. So think of that pubic bone, hip bones in the same plane. T-zones on, lower back muscles, gently drawing up to the tummy, but there's no changes in the spine. Take your right leg out to the side, and as I do that, think of hip bone drawing across to the other hip bone so we stay level. Inner thigh, lower abs drawing that leg back. Other side, inhale out, and exhale back over. Keep going for me. So think of those hip bones drawing across towards each other as the leg goes out to the side to stabilise the pelvis. The non-moving leg doesn't fall out to the side. It stays up towards the ceiling. Obliques, think about these oblique muscles at the side, drawing the hips back, so they're staying back without arching back or without tucking the bottom under. So just free movement in the hips with a stable pelvis, upper body relaxed, shoulders gently down and back. You don't force them down and overactivate the wrong muscles. Nice and flowing. Nice one here. And release there. Next is how to move the arms through space. So fingertips are up towards the ceiling. Shoulders are gently down and back. So let's think about the scapula or the shoulder blades. They're staying wide on the shoulder, on the rib cage. They're not over pinching. Draw the hands down towards the hips without the shoulders rolling forward. The shoulders need to stay back. So teaching the arm bones to work in the in the shoulder socket without the shoulders running forwards. That shoulder girdle is stable without over squeezing, and the arms are floating down and floating back. So imagine you're pressing through wet cement. So think ribs to hips on the way down. Hold it there, float the arms back up. So we don't want any tension in the neck or shoulders. So we're moving from the shoulder joint. The whole shoulder isn't moving, really important. Let's take our arms behind us. Palms facing each other, fingertips to the ceiling. T-zone, ribs down. Take the arms overhead without the shoulders coming up towards the ears. So the ribs are staying down. Muscles under the armpits, the lat muscles are lengthening to take the arms over. And you only take them back as far as you can without the shoulders coming up to the ears. So if you can only get to here, that's your mobility, that's okay, you work through it. Think, scoop the shoulder blades under the armpit, you're exposing that armpit without popping the rib cage. It's going to create more space in the shoulder girdle and the neck. So think, scoop the shoulder blades under the armpits, ribs stay in, neck relaxed. Let's do 2 more. Last one here. Bring your arms back over the chest. Fingertips up towards the ceiling, palms facing forward. We're adding a chest lift so that back of the neck long, chin in, so think of that back of the head sliding up the mat, chin slightly in. Don't overly push it in, okay? Inhale here, T-zone. Pelvis is still. Lifting the head, curl ribs towards the hips, eyes on the thighs. Inhale, float the arms back up and lay back down. Exhale, T-zone tight, ribs towards the hips, tummy stays flat. And inhale down. Keep going, we're just moving that upper body all in one plane, in one block. So the upper body is flexing forward, the lower body is staying still. Using those oblique muscles and the six-pack muscle, that rectus, to draw you up. The arms are just floating. I'm not pulling hard through my neck. Let's do 2 more. Breathing out as you come up. Inhale down. Out. And down. Lower the hands back down. So we're flexing the upper body, keeping the lower body still. So now we're going to keep the upper body still and roll the lower, flex the lower body. So let's set up tripods, T-zone, neutral spine. Fingertip, palms up towards the ceiling, shoulders down and back. So first, T-zone. So we've got this 6-pack muscle here. We've got these blocks. So I want you to think the lower block. So we're using those lower rectus muscles here. The T-zone won't move us, it'll stabilize us. So there's muscles attached to the pubic bone. Draw that pubic bone through. So the lower back rounds because the pubic bone and the lower abs are pulling it through. You'll feel the tummy scoop, shoulders stay relaxed, and then come back to neutral. So this is a pelvic prep work. So the bottom isn't working here. We just want the front of the body to curl the pubic bone, to round the lower back and lengthen it. So think deep abdominals, think lower abs to the pubic bone, drawing that pubic bone through, scooping the abdominals, and then come back. Now when you're doing that, take notice with the upper body, nothing moves. So it's not a whole body movement. So you really need to isolate the top from the bottom. So keeping the upper body still, use those lower abdominals. Now we're coming up a little bit higher. So curl the pubic bone. Now you need to touch, squeeze the butt cheeks together, press the feet into the floor and away from you as you lift up. So now we're using the bottom muscles to lift up. Not pressing my arms into the floor, not using my lats, using my back extensors to lift me and my glutes. When we get to the top, tuck the pubic bone under, keep the hips high, lower the ribs down by keeping the hips high as long as you can. Then as you come to that lower back, the hip bones will come towards you, the lower back touches, then use your abs to lengthen the tailbone away, release the glutes. And again, inhale here, curl the pubic bone. Squeeze the bottom, peel the spine up. When you get to the top, we want to try and be in a diagonal line. Shoulders are down, chin slightly in, tuck. Place that spine down one vertebra at a time. And when you feel that lower back start to hit, you You can release the glutes and lengthen the tailbone away. So we're only using the effort we need for the exercise we're doing. We don't need everything on. So it's flowing and controlled movement. So this is your pelvic curl, just base level. Well done. Let's practice extending the leg out with our upper body still. Again, you can have the arms next to your body or the hands open. So while we do this is to encourage a little bit more external rotation in the shoulders so we're not rounding forward. When we round forward, there's a lot of stress in that neck. Inhale here, exhale, right leg to tabletop. Just do 4 here for me. 3, 2, and 1. Bring it to tabletop. Now extend this leg out to 45 degrees. The higher you go, the easier it is. The lower you go, the harder it is. So reach and point through the toes, making sure that the pelvis is still. So now I'm going back to those lower abs. I'm thinking about drawing the pubic bone through to help stabilize me as well. Extend that leg out as far as you can without the stabilizing leg moving. Reach and point through the toes. The torso is long but supported. And think of a little bit upper back extension, just without those ribs popping. So we're teaching our body to be in a more neutral position while we're extending the leg out. Keeping those lower abdominals working. Extend the leg out, hold it there, and lower and raise it. So you might feel that your back wants to arch, so you've got to think pubic bone pulling through as I lower my leg. Lower back is holding as I raise it back up. So everything's just doing its little job without anything overdoing it. Keeping the kneecap facing up towards the ceiling, feeling that stretch through the front of the hip. 2 more, and again you adjust your range. Bring that up for me, and just little pulses. So lower and lift. So we're strengthening that hip flexor as well, so you will feel the leg working. Reach and point, not too big, 3 or 5 centimeters. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower that leg down. Lengthen that leg you just worked out long and draw that knee in towards the hip. So we can still work our abdominals and not use our neck by lying down, by keeping down, but we're not forgetting about the posture. We're actually strengthening it in a lengthened position, which is what we really need for function and just everyday activities. And swap it over, bring that leg back. So we bring the other leg up into tabletop, and we want to think, float the leg. T-zone's working, obliques are working, and maybe a little bit of lower abdominal activation to keep that pubic bone pulling through without rounding through the lower back. Making sure that inner thigh is working just as much as the outer thigh and the middle of the thigh. Let's add our extension here. Leg comes up, extend, reach and point, pelvis still. Glide that knee back in with control. Exhale out, inhale in. So it's just giving you a little bit of time to see what's happening in your body. Is my pelvis still? Is my knee staying up towards the ceiling? Are my hips rocking? No. Upper body relaxed. Let's change the exercise, extend it out. You take it as low as you can without that back arching. So we're using those lower abdominals to pull the pubic bone through. Point and take the leg up as far as you can without tucking the bottom under. So we're activating those deep back muscles as well to stabilize. The thigh bone is working independently in the hip socket. The hips aren't coming with you. The leg is moving in the socket. So at the moment, I'm not allowing those hips to move. Bring it down and then do your little pulses. So just lower and raise. tummy is on. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend that knee, place it down on me. Well done, guys. Let's practice some side lying work. So we want to get into the small muscles of the bottom. So when we do that, you can lie on this outstretched arm or have something under the head. Knees are about 45 degrees. If I was lying up against a wall, my feet, my bottom, shoulders, head would be up against that wall. We don't want to start in a collapsed position. We want to press that top hip away. So if I was standing, my hips would be level. So even think about activating this underneath oblique and draw that lower hip towards the ribs, but making it really neutral. T-zone is important, so lift that pelvic floor and this top hip drawing towards the bottom hip. It's going to help stop us from rocking. The lower back stays lengthened, so we're not wrinkling through the waist. Before we start, ribs to hips, so that doesn't mean we're flexing, it just means we're not popping. Squeeze the heels together first and anticipate this butt muscle opening the knee. So you might feel a little flicker come on. So squeeze the heels together, open the knee up, and the knee goes up towards the ceiling as much as you can without that hip rolling back. So if there was a spotlight on that ceiling, it would be shining on this muscle here, and this muscle would be drawing that knee up. And these are the muscles that get lazy, especially if you're running and high intensity exercise and these aren't working, you're not stable in your joints. And then now your bigger muscles that move you have to try and stabilize you as well as move you. So every muscle's got a bit of a job to do. So this is where you get that muscle to mind connection we talk about. So if you're not feeling it there, you're aware of it, that's okay, that's a starting point. What happens if this isn't moving? We'll use the hip a little bit more. You've heard of the TFL. So to take this out, if you're feeling it in here a little bit, you can roll the top hip forward ever so slightly to try and take it out. And then really think the spotlight's on this muscle here to draw that knee up. And then resist and close. So it should feel like a little bit of a burning there. As soon as you start to feel it in the wrong spot, stop and think, no, I don't, my brain's got to learn not to use these muscles for this exercise. It needs to learn to use this muscle, and it does take a long time to change a habit. So that is your planned exercise for working with the deep muscles of the butt. We knee, moving. Next exercise is we're changing into a straight leg. So plan the leg up and bring that leg out straight. So what we need to have here is that top hip pressed away. And if you are a little bit tight in the hip flexors, it's not, you're going to have trouble holding this leg up in hip extension. But there's lots of other things that you need to work on as well. So think of squeezing the bottom and lengthening that hip. Flex the foot gently, don't overflex it, and imagine that foot is reaching out and touching the wall. And you're sliding that leg up the wall. So we don't want the leg to come forward. We want the leg in line with it if you can. And we don't want to go so high that we're collapsing. So that's not what we want. So think lower back lengthened and just sliding that leg up and back. So we're working those muscles here. If by chance you're still not feeling it in the butt here, you can externally rotate the leg a little bit to try and take it out, and then try and lift and lower. So we want it to come from the back of the body, really important. Okay, so that's just a few little tips that you can try if you're not feeling it in the right spot. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Lower down a little bit up. Okay. So let's roll over and find the muscles on the other side, and you may find one side's better than the other, or we might feel this side's a little bit fatigued as well. So remember, we're not loading the body up too much in this class. We're trying to find these muscles to stabilise us and then increase the intensity once we've found them. So plant 2 knees are in front, feet are in line. Let's do the sit-up, head relaxed, up in the neck, long chin, shoulders, hips, knees, and feet are stacked. Top hip pressing away, activate this underside waist. T-zone, top hip drawing towards the bottom hip. Squeeze the heels together, anticipate that bottom muscle, opening the leg. and close. Sometimes you might just want to stay here and just do the little ones to make sure it's working. That's up to you. But we're squeezing open. Might keep my hand on the hip to make sure it's not rocking back. The hip stays lengthened, the lower back stays lengthened. So I'm not shortening through those verticals in my back as well. Open and close. So think of it like a hinge. That spotlight is shining on this muscle here, and that spotlight is telling this glute, or sorry, the glute need to open my knee up towards the ceiling. You don't want the side of the hip to do it, so roll forward if you need. And as you get stronger, it'll feel like it's just floating up, and then we need to add resistance and add challenges to it. Okay. Usually you want to try and do the exercise for a minute, or as long as you can do it for that, you're feeling it in the right spot. As soon as it starts to feel somewhere else, just stop. And clamp the leg up, so the leg is out straight, top hip pressing away. So for this exercise today, I want to straighten it and change it sometimes. So we're squeezing the bottom and extending the front of the hip. Slide that leg up that imaginary wall like it's touching, so we're reaching out to it and lower. We're not rocking through the waist. So we check that back isn't collapsing. And you just take it up and down with control. Touching a muscle sort of helps wake up as well, if that's okay. So we're just sliding it up and down. So imagine the foot is on a wall and you're pressing that foot into the wall and you're sliding it up. So we're trying to get what's called closed chain, but it's not good. So we just want to have that sensation that it's reaching out, sliding up and down, and really feeling the bottom. 2 more. Last one. All done, guys. Release it. Give it a rub if you need. So now we're going to be working on our backs. So we've got to wake up these muscles that support us, and it's called the serratus anterior, and it wraps around in here. So if these are working correctly, it's going to stabilise you without getting a lot of wrist pain and neck pain, and sometimes it does take a while to find them. So to set up, hands are underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. So when you see those really muscly guys and you see those muscles, they look like fingers around here, it's like they're wrapping and hugging you. So the shoulder blades stay nice and flat, but it's allowing it to move around the rib cage. So it's not winging or over pinching. So think, press the hands into the floor, knees underneath the hips, maybe have a little bit more weight back in the knees, so we don't want the weight too far forward. The elbows are straight but not locked. So what I want you to think about is T-zone, ribs to hips. Chin in, don't drop that head. Squeeze the shoulder blades gently together. Don't over squeeze, so the chest is coming through the middle of the arms, and then chest presses up into the shoulder blades, but flat, so we're not rounding through that upper back. So it's just a serratus push. It's keeping the elbows straight, then shoulder blades gently coming together. Don't overdo it, so we don't want you to collapse like this. And then press that spine up to meet the shoulder blades, so they're nice and flat. So we need to find these muscles. Shoulder blades is like scooping under the armpit as I press back, creating space on the rib cage. So once this is strong, you get more free movement in your shoulders because you won't need to hang on to dear life with your upper traps and neck muscles. If this back muscle doesn't work, you'll start gripping with your pecs at the front here. So it'll look like this. And I'm gripping with the front here rather than being a little bit relaxed and getting those back muscles to move. So now my pecs are ready to do a push-up. They're not holding my shoulder in place. Stop there for me. Feel that connection with those muscles around the rib cage and the shoulder blades. Just float one leg up, one arm up. Nothing should change, and I alternate. So I've got nice free movement in my shoulders now because I've made a stable base around those shoulder girdle and the shoulder blades. My arms are moving freely without too much shift of weight. Okay, and then you can easily go on to opposite arm and leg. Without moving too much. So we're showing the body how to stabilise and showing the big muscles it's safe to move now. Less effort, more flowing, and we build on that. So that's really important as well. So that is just getting those back muscles working. Let's go into what we call swan prep. We'll work a little bit harder, but a little bit smarter. So the hands are on the outside of the mat, elbows are into the floor, but just press, feel that feels like when you press your elbows and arms into the floor, a lot of tension in the neck and shoulders. So let's let them relax and just gently think shoulder blades just down slightly. So this is over squeezing and letting my lats do it. It's the middle of the tips of the shoulder blades. Chin in, head down. Tummy tight, lift the tummy away from the floor. Use those lower abs. So we're using those lower block muscles of the rectus to draw the pubic bone to the belly. Try not to squeeze the bottom, lower back's relaxed. Sorry, bottom's relaxed, lower back's a little bit active there. So now, just lift the face and chest off the floor. So I don't want you to extend through the neck. Keep upper back, back of the head reaching up towards the ceiling. Crown of the head reaching in front of you. Check. As you come up, you're pushing your belly into the floor and collapsing through that lower back. So I need to lift my lower abs away from the floor, pubic bone, hip bones towards the floor, and it's my upper back doing it. So my hands aren't pressing into the floor. I'm strengthening my upper thoracic. Once that's strengthened, it's going to create more space in my shoulders, and I can move my shoulders without tension in my neck. So we need to get this happening first. So just breathing in and out. You can hold it up there. Lift the hands just off the floor. Lower the hands and come down. Lift up. Lift the hands down and then back. So we're just teaching the body to move more efficiently. Practice that for me. So if you've got shoulders that are round, you'll need to open up through the front of the shoulders, tips of the shoulders in and down, upper back lifting, chest lowering. To add on, you can hold, bring the arms up. We don't want the elbows higher than the arms. It'll go into the neck and shoulders. We want them parallel. Lower the hands, lower the chest. Lift the chest. With the hands, lower the hands, lower the chest. So this is just a few things that you can practice there to get into those muscles, so that's really important. We're going to practice for the last thing today, we're going to practice rotation. So when we rotate through our spine, come up to a seated position for me, and you can always sit. If you don't like to sit, you can always sit on something like a chair or a step. So we might start, I'll start in this position. Bring your hands onto your shoulders, like so. So you're sitting on the sit bones, T-zone, ribs to hips. I'm going to rotate to your right. When you rotate to your right, this left oblique, left hip stays still, so it doesn't come with you. There's no shifting through the hips. So just rotate around and then come back. So I'm not using my head and neck. My nose stays in line with the sternum, and I rotate to the other side. So remember, we've only got about 30, on a good day, 30 degrees rotation through that thoracic. Some people might have more, they might be hypermobile. Some people may have less. But that's what we're looking at. We're not looking at the head and neck doing it, the eyes are just following. So we're just doing that rotation. So let's check that the knees aren't going with me as well. And I might work in a little bit further on that rotation, keeping the shoulders level so I'm not dipping down. So that's your rotation. Let's practice your side bend. So you can have your hands here or up on the top of your head, but the hands aren't pulling on your neck. So if you feel you can't hold here, keep your hands here. So we're going to side bend to your left. And when you do that, opposite hip stays down, and think of moving right up the top here. So it's just over and back.
So it's like my chin stays in. Imagine that you're trying to get water out of the ear, so the head stays in line with the spine. Opposite hip stays pressing down, and we we flex side to side. So this is just lateral flexion, and the other one was rotation. So there is an exercise we do in Pilates called saw, and with that one, you do have to be careful if you have any lower disc injuries or any facet joint injuries. So for those people, they might want to stick with those previous exercise, but I will demonstrate a saw for you and then maybe break it up a little bit. So with saw, we sit with our legs forward about your mat distance apart. Arms out, energy out through the arms, energy out through the head, energy out through the legs. So we first, opposite hip stays down, rotate around, nose in line with the sternum. So I'm not swinging my arms are coming with me because of the rotation through those ribs. Then center and around, exhale around, inhale center. So again, if this doesn't feel right for you, you can have your hands here or go back to that seated. If you had a step or a chair, you can do it from there. All right, so we're just rotating around. So the next bit is inhale here, we exhale, rotate and reach. So it's like we're soaring off the toe, eye line to the back wall, then coming up nice and tall. So rotate and reach and inhale up. Exhale, rotate and reach, inhale up. This time of the morning, my flexibility is not going to be the best anyway. So I'm really watching what those hips are doing. I'm lifting up out of the hips, rotating and reaching across and coming back up. Okay? Well done. So where can you take this exercise? Just think of when you're driving. So if you're driving like this and you're rotating around, I want you to start thinking when you're driving, arms and shoulders are relaxed, free movement. When you rotate to look behind you, you're rotating from the rib cage. So this is how we take Pilates into function. So we're rotating through that rib cage. So we're not slumped in a chair. We're using the correct muscles. So something you can practice in the car as well, that rotation. Or if you're stopped at lights, start getting that free movement in your shoulders. Sitting up tall, hands are on the steering wheel, shoulders are relaxed, and you just want to let the elbows flop. So you can feel how they're moving in the sockets without too much tension in the upper body. So it's teaching your brain that free movement. So when you are just doing easy stuff, like reaching for a glass in the cupboard, it's not a great big exercise. Once you've got that free movement, then you load it up by adding intensity. So that's a little bit of why we do things, how we can incorporate them in everyday life. So finding those small stabilizing muscles and improving that, it's going to make so much better for when you do your higher intensity classes and when we go up to the next level. So let's stand up. We'll finish with the roll down. So remember, find those hip bones. Tripods are on the feet. Arches are lifted. Knees are soft. Weights over the knees and ankles. Shoulders down and back. Ribs are closed. Doesn't mean we're flexing, they're just closed. Breathing through the nose. Side out through the back of the throat. That's really going to get to those deep muscles to close those ribs. And again, and let's just do 2 roll downs. So chin in, around the upper back, draw the belly in, arms and head a little heavy. Inhale here, re-imprint that spine. Squeeze the glutes as you're coming up to bring the hips back up to the pelvis. And again. Stand up nice and tall for me. Okay, well done guys. Enjoy the rest of your day and I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.